Today, I'm looking at the Pilot Custom Urusha in Prussian blue. I was never particularly interested in this pen. It looked far too big and seemed like the opposite of what I normally liked. But my preferences changed over time, and seeing this color again and again in Japanese pen shops gradually changed my mind. So this is the story of why I chose it, and how I feel about the finish and its massive number 30 medium nib. I'm not a fountain pen expert. This is simply my experience of owning and using the pen. I originally preferred smaller pens. Two of my first purchases were the Parker IM and Montblanc 145, and I thought slim pens suited me best. The custom Urushi was never on my shopping list. Over time, however, I found that a thicker pen was more comfortable during longer writing sessions. The turning point was the Montblanc 149. Once I started using one, I stopped being intimidated by oversized pens. The custom Urushi is 155 millimeters long when capped, about 8 millimeters longer than a modern 149, with a noticeably wider body and cap. Yet their grips are surprisingly similar. Published measurements place the custom Urushi at roughly 12.3 to 13 millimeters, and the 149 at around 12.5 to 13.2. In my hand, the custom Urushi actually feels slightly slimmer. It looks intimidating, but feels much less extreme once I start writing. While researching the pen, I found an interesting story behind the blue finish. The custom Urushi reportedly appeared in black in 2016, followed by vermilion in 2017. Its first blue version was a tiny limited edition. In 2020, a blue Urushi version called Ruri was reportedly made for the Maruzen World Fountain Pen exhibition in Nihonbashi. Only 45 were produced. Then, according to Pilot's official announcement, Prussian blue joined the regular lineup in November 2024 as a third standard color. Once I became interested, this pen caught my eye almost every time I visited a fountain pen shop in Japan. It doesn't demand attention like vermilion. In subdued lighting, it looks almost black, but direct light reveals a muted blue somewhere between navy and black. I found that restraint extremely appealing. Pilot's official Japanese price is 165,000 yen including tax. In Korea, I could still buy it at the pre-increased price of around 1 million won, which is roughly 110,000 yen or $730. I heard it costs $1,700 in the US. Japan was where I made up my mind, but Korea was where I bought it. The size seems to put some people off, yet Korean supply is also limited. I bought mine while the medium was available. There is no getting around it. This is a large pen, 155 millimeters long, 20 millimeters at its widest, and 44 grams. But those numbers don't describe how it feels. Uncapped, the balance is more comfortable than expected, and the grip is not nearly as thick as it looks. Pilot says the ebonite body is finished with Urushi lacquer. Compared with the glossy plastic pens, its texture and reflections feel quite different. It is smooth without feeling cold, and the light seems to come from within the color. In dim light, the blue sinks towards black and only reveals itself as light moves across the pen. I can't explain Urushi as an expert, but that change is one of its greatest appeals. The nib options are fine medium, medium, and broad. I normally prefer a Pilot Fine or Montblanc Extra Fine, so I plan to buy the fine medium. But several owner reviews suggested that the springy character of the number 30 nib can feel more pronounced in that size. Those are personal impressions and can vary by nib and writing pressure, but they made me reconsider. With a nib this large and unusual, I thought I might as well try the medium. I'm happy with my decision. With my paper and ink, it feels similar in width to my Montblanc Fine, nowhere near as broad as I feared. The number 30 is not technically a flex nib, but in my hand it feels soft and responsive rather than rigid. Its generous flow and the sensation of that huge nib moving across the page are a major part of the enjoyment. The custom urushi is not easy to recommend to everyone. It is large, expensive, and offers neither elaborate decoration nor an unusual filling system. It is a cartridge converter pen supplied with a Con 70N. It holds more ink than many other cartridges, but many users find it awkward to fill and flush. My experience has been similar. I now use a compatible Wingsung converter instead. Needing a third-party converter for a flagship pen costing over 1 million won is honestly disappointing. The size is another practical limitation. It feels comfortable at a desk, but doesn't fit many ordinary pen cases. Even finding the right case becomes a small project. It is also too large and heavy for my shirt pocket. Sometimes I wonder what the clip is even there for. It stops the pen from rolling and secures it inside a case, but isn't very useful to me as a pocket clip. So I think of this as a pen for slow writing at home, rather than one I carry everywhere. Yet once that enormous number 30 nib glides across the page, laying down a generous line of ink, many of those frustrations disappear. The portability is poor and the original converter disappointing, but at home, this offers one of the richest writing experiences among my pens. It is not an all-purpose pen. It makes me set aside a place and time to use it. Its flaws are obvious, but I keep returning because the writing experience justifies the effort. I can't recommend a fountain pen costing over 1 million won to everyone. Far less expensive pilot models also satisfy me for everyday writing. But if you like large pens, soft writing feel, urushi texture, and restrained color, you may enjoy it. If you prefer slim, lightweight pens or need a genuinely fine line, try the size and fine medium nib before buying. Even when you know the dimensions, the pen is surprising in person. I never would have bought the Pilot Custom Urushi in Prussian blue if I had stayed within my original preferences. But tastes change, and the size that once seemed intimidating can become the more comfortable choice. This pen appeared at the end of that change. The dark blue that stayed in my mind whenever I saw it in Japan has been even more satisfying to own and use. It is difficult to capture properly on camera, but I hope this review has helped if you're considering it. Thank you for watching.